If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Welcome to the K-Files this Thursday morning. Hey, Linda.
Hey, Sandra. I've been up for about 37 hours. So
37 hours?
Yes, I'm ready to go.
I don't know if I ought to be on here then.
Woo! I've got a bunch. I drank a Mountain Dew Red. I drank a Mountain Dew Volt. I had a V8 energy drink, and I got a Pepsi right here. I know it ain't good. I'm in terrible physical shape. I'm not going to live forever, so I might as well be awake.
You might as well enjoy it.
I might as well be awake as long as I can. Somebody wants to know what time the church ladies are going to be on here. I think we'll wait. Before we get going, and I'm excited about today.
We will thank our sponsors.
Yes, go ahead and do that. Yes, absolutely.
Statewide Insurers Group and Barnes Safety and Consulting, both. And don't forget to get your concealed carry. You need to call JP and get your concealed carry.
Absolutely. I want to just remind people so they'll tune in when they want to. The first week of every month, the Nash County Sheriff's Office is on here.
Yep.
The second week of every month, the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office is on here. The third week of every month, Rocky Mount Police is on there. And then on the fourth week, we don't really have nobody.
We get to play around.
Exactly. And then if there's a fifth week, then we really go nuts.
Yeah.
Actually, I am a little excited because our first show was 1 year ago this week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was.
It just don't seem like a
I know.
year to
Well,
me.
I took a month off for COVID or whatever in October.
You sure
I think
did.
It was.
Well, you know, somebody said to me yesterday, I told them it had been a year. I said, yeah, we're going to do, they asked me, what's the K-Files about? And I love it when they ask, what's it going to be about this week? Because that means they're watching.
Right, absolutely.
And they said, what's the K-Files going to be this week? I said, well, believe it or not, it's our anniversary. And we're going to recap some cases, and they said, "Oh, I'm excited about that."
We did, so, and I, rather than doing a standard recap, I decided that we would take half a dozen cases, and we're going to talk about. I'm going to provide new information in those cases.
Okay.
We got some things that have happened since we talked about them.
Oh.
So we're gonna not only are we gonna recap these 6 cases, these are cases that we've talked a lot about on the show. So not only are we gonna talk about these 6 cases, but I'm also going to share some information that very few people know.
Well, on the break, if you have not done this, let's see, I have had 2 people ask me, do we have an update on Harold Gamble?
Harold
Do you
Gamble.
know, have you talked to Edgecombe County?
I do not. There might be.
The guy at the Kingsborough exit?
Yeah.
Kingsborough.
Right. I will ask him.
Yeah, on the break, we'll try to call Edgecombe County and get a update for you, because 2 people have asked me, so I know you're wondering.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew him, so I think that's why
I
they're
will.
asking.
Yeah, I will see what we can find out.
Okay.
All right. So I was going to go to the bathroom on the break, but instead,
No, you
because I
can't
have
go.
drank a whole bunch of energy drinks, but instead I'll
Yeah,
call.
it's going somewhere.
I'll call Muse or Tinder over there and see what we can find out. All right. So we're just going to start and we're going to go through these. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to start with Cheryl Watson. She's 25 years old. She was killed on April 10th, 1991. Right?
Okay.
She was the girl, the lady that was. They found her in the cemetery over there on Raleigh
yeah,
Road.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
She was nude from the waist down. She was found face down beside a tombstone in Pine View Cemetery. That tombstone was the murder weapon because they bashed her head
Right.
against the tombstone. She wasn't raped, but police think that she wasn't raped because the rapist got scared away for whatever reason, because he took her pants off, so he just didn't get.
Okay, so it was probably intended to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it was a rape gone wrong. Maybe she
Yeah.
fought too much, and he ended up killing her, and then he just ran off. Whatever. But I can tell everybody today because I just found out yesterday. I was going to update this story with who the suspect is because I've known for a while who the suspect is. But when I got to looking, the suspect in this case is dead.
Really?
Yeah, his name was Bill Lawton. He died in prison a couple months ago.
Wow.
He served. That's the only picture you're going to find of him because when an inmate is released or dies in North Carolina, they take the picture down. So I had that old
he
picture
knew
left
her.
over. I don't know whether he knew her or not. Right? I don't know all the details, but he was the police officer's, the detective's only suspect, right?
Wow.
Here's what happened. He served 2 decades of a life sentence, so he died in prison. So in a rarity, the life sentence thing worked because he died in prison. He was in prison for 5 counts of rape that happened at the same time that Cheryl was killed, right? So he's always been the main suspect. He's been the only suspect really in this case. They just didn't have the exact evidence that they needed, but I mean they know it was him. If you just ask them, right? So I mean this guy was a career criminal. I mean, right? Not just like oh, I committed one crime and I'm innocent or whatever. I mean, this guy, he served time for breaking and entering, assault inflicting serious injury, assault on a female, assault with a deadly weapon, larceny. He even escaped from prison one time. So it's like, if you escape from prison, you never, I mean, I think now the only time that his victims, because there are a lot of victims out there, I mean, that was 5 different counts. I think it was 3 ladies with, so the point is that they can now feel safe because he is, there ain't no getting paroled from being dead. So he's not going to escape again, right?
Right.
Now, I've talked to a couple people. Nobody at the police department, so Captain Staten and Lieutenant Seaman, please don't have a heart attack. But I mean, there is a possibility that they could close this case based on the probable cause that they have on this man.
Right, absolutely.
So I think they were always.
He was the only suspect.
Sure, he was in prison serving life, so there was no. They were looking for the right evidence.
So he died in prison.
Oh yeah, he died in prison a couple months ago. So I was looking
it's
him.
that recent.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Very recent.
I was looking him up yesterday because I wanted to update. I was going to tell people who he was.
Yeah.
And then when I looked him up, I saw that he I don't think there's very many people mourning Mr. Lawton.
Right.
Serial rapist and a suspected murderer that
Yeah,
he is.
really.
And he's dead, so I can say whatever I want to about him. All right, so the thing that they've got probable cause that it was him, right?
Right.
Good evidence that it was him. Just they never went to trial with it. Plus, he had been between the time while they were investigating Cheryl's case, he got locked up for raping these other women. So I mean, there was no real hurry on pressing the case because they knew where he was. He wasn't going anywhere. So, but now maybe the truth can come out about that case. I don't know. I know her mother will be happy. I talked to her mother. I wish I'd have had a picture of that was taken by the Telegram when I interviewed her mother a few years ago. She was a sweet little old lady. She lived in the same house she lived in when her daughter was killed all those years ago. Nice lady. Okay, so a little bit of good news there. Serial rapist is dead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not.
Well, if you
so I'm not
did
too
it,
broken up.
you know,
so I'm not too broken up
I'm glad
about
you're
it,
not on the
folks.
street to do it
Right.
again.
Serial
Or able to do it
rapist,
again.
serial rapist / escapee dies in prison. I'm not too broken up about it. All right. The next case is Mr. McGray. I always mispronounce his poor guy's name. Stephen McGray.
Oh
Matt
yeah.
Gray.
I remember.
63 years old. He went missing in January of last year. Remember? And
Yep.
Sergeant Tender's been on here several times talking about him.
He has.
Went missing out from Robeson School Road, which is outside of Tarboro.
Right.
All right, so Mr. McGray's, there's been no sign of him since then. His daughter Brittany was accused of using his debit card several
remember
times
that,
after he
yes.
disappeared. They charged her. We have her mugshot there because they charged her with financial card theft, identity theft, and 2 counts of obtaining property by false pretense. Those charges have been dropped. So I don't really know all
Why
the.
they dropped?
I don't know all the details. I don't know exactly why.
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, they were dropped in a way that they can always be reinstated later. But for right now, those charges have been dropped. I think it's fair to. I mean, we said that she'd been charged, so I think it's fair to come
Yeah.
back and say that
If
that
they've
those
been
charges are
dropped,
dropped.
yeah.
But I do know that they're really working this case. You remember the body that was found over on Sunset Avenue like a month or so
Yeah.
ago? When that body was found, like everybody showed up to see if it was their body.
Yeah.
You know, the Wilson was interested if it was Tammy Grady. or
Everybody
not.
was asking me, is
Right.
it Tammy Grady? See, we've got viewers that are now, they know the names of these people,
Well,
and they're asking
yeah.
about specific.
That's the-
Was it Tammy Grady that you talked about?
That's the goal.
That's cool.
So Edgecombe showed up to find out if that was Stephen McRae or not. And they know, I won't
Really?
say how they know it wasn't him, because we still don't know whether that, are you opening the door? The door's already open. We still don't
is
know,
time.
we don't know if that is,
A male or
yeah, male or
female?
female. Last I heard, they
Still
could
don't know.
have, they could have figured that out by now, and I just don't know. I'm always,
Yeah, let's
I'm always
ask
2 steps
that.
behind
Well,
the
I
cops,
mean, we
but-
don't know when they have completed their.
Right.
But we do need to ask that
But
question.
that's not Stephen McRae. I know why they
Okay.
know it's not, but I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you later.
Well, that's cool.
Well, I don't, you know, the
Well,
general
we'll
get
talk
on, if
more
I,
about Stephen
the general
McRae.
get on to me if I say too much. I don't want, you
Yes.
know, I don't want to hurt any kind of cases.
Yes. Okay, well, we're
so-
going to take a break.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be right back to finish
ain't-
this
we-
case.
We ain't done but 2. No, Mr. McRae's done. We're going to move
Okay.
on. We're going to move on to Travis Lynch.
All right, we'll move right on, right after this.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. we can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
And welcome back.
Well, Lieutenant Muse and Sergeant Tender did not answer their phones
They may be in a
because you
meeting,
set me
so
up on live
maybe
TV.
we'll check. Yeah, that's
Thank
right.
you
And
so
you
much.
couldn't produce the goods.
Thank you so much for setting me up on
I
live
need to
TV.
keep him awake more often.
Yeah, make promises to folks.
No, I will call on the
I will
next
find
one.
out about Mr.
Yeah,
Gamble.
yeah, we will.
By next.
Okay,
I'll keep trying, but we'll have something. All right?
So case number 3.
Travis Lynch.
Oh,
Something
yeah, we
I
know
wrote
about that
about.
one.
I wrote about Mr. Lynch for 38 straight weeks. I won Investigative Story of the Year for the Spring Oak Enterprise for the North Carolina Press Association last year, working on that case. I uncovered new witnesses and new information for the Sheriff's Office.
Wow.
Of course, Travis was a 21-year-old kid who he was from Wilson. He was with his girlfriend's family in Middlesex on Christmas Eve 2003.
Yep.
He vanished and never been seen again. That was 17 years ago.
Car, they can't find the car, anything.
Right. His car vanished. You know, I go back and forth. Every once in a while I get this thought in the back of my head that, like, you know, what if he really did crash somewhere and he's just not out there? Because you remember we sat here with Brandon Medina a few weeks ago and talked about those 2 missing men, and we were sure something nefarious happened to them.
Yeah.
And they had crashed and was at the bottom of them.
That's right.
So but then I bumped into a guy at the library the other day. That's going to be funny later on. I talked to a guy at the library the other day, and he said that he was a member of Travis's family.
Oh, really?
That I had not spoken to, because I mean I've spoken a lot to his mom and his his uncle over the years and all that. And I mean, you know, he shed some light on the whole thing. He said that Travis got into an argument with his girlfriend, and it got a little rough. And her uncle, who's serving time in federal prison now, he was a big drug kingpin back then. It got a little rough, and the family decided to. I don't know what the right word is, but they decided that they had had enough of Travis, and so, you know.
Wow.
And I had heard that before as well. So I mean, it just you know, when you hear something enough from enough different people, you start thinking the truth of it. Now, I mean, Travis was no angel, you know, and they did have a contentious relationship.
Right.
Authorities have agreed to that. So, you know, regardless of what happens, I mean, you don't deserve to get disappeared.
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
Especially when the folks that we're talking about aren't angels themselves. I mean, the guy is coming up on 7. He's been served about 7 years now for running drugs in middle. One of the area's biggest drug dealers. Let's put it that way. All right, so that's Travis. Moving on to Jaleesa Reynolds. That we talked a lot about. We spent a whole show on her. She's 18 years old. She's been missing since February of 2010. And she used a computer at the Scotland Neck Library. Well, that's 3 of these involve libraries.
Yeah.
So she used the computer at the Scotland Neck Library, and on February 22nd, 2010, never seen again, right? So detectives did a great job tracking her. You know, she used the internet at the library. She connected to a house on Cemetery Road, which is not far from there, at least within walking distance.
Right.
The house belongs to Dwayne Davis, who is a registered sex offender for a rape that he committed back in 1993. So Davis told reporters, you know, there was a big story when she disappeared. People were really, this was in the height of the Antoine Pittman thing and all that, because they were looking for her and found a body in that case, right? So people were, reporters were calling all over Davis at that time, asking him questions, knocking on his door and all that stuff. And so, you know, he finally told him, he said that she came to his house that day, that she looked at his computer and she looked at his horses. Well, the first thing that cops try to do when they get a suspect into a room is they try to get him to admit that he was there.
Right.
Right? That's the first step.
Yeah.
You want to get him so that, you know, they say, oh, well, we saw some, you know. So if you're watching this, folks, take your right to remain silent. So they're saying, hey, we saw somebody, you know, somebody saw you there. We know you were there. Just admit you were there. And then once you admit you're there, then they're 50% to proving that you did it, right?
Yeah.
But Mr. Davis came out on his porch and told reporters that she used his computer and that she looked at his horses. So, I mean, he's pretty much, she was there. He's the last person to see her live. He's a registered sex offender, right? So, you know, all right.
And I want to say, if y'all know about any of these cases we're talking about,
please.
Any of these cases, 406-6736 is the number. It is completely anonymous, and you will get paid, and you will get paid quickly. I will tell you that.
Up to $15,000.
Up to $15,000.
And we have paid out big before.
Do not waste time if you know about these cases, please.
We have paid out big money.
We have solved 3 cases.
Yes.
3.
Helped.
Yeah. I mean.
All right. So, absolutely, the system.
Yeah.
The system works. All right. So, this case has been presented to the DA's office, right? So, cops felt like they had enough to present it to the DA's office. Right. It hasn't been prosecuted. Since we talked about this case on TV the last time, I got contacted by someone that I confirmed to.
Really?
I don't want to say what he does because it might.
Yeah.
People might figure out who he is, but I mean he's connected to this case and he's law enforcement adjacent. Let me say that. All right. Okay. So I don't want to say exactly who he is. He said that the problem with the case being solved on the police side and not getting prosecuted on the prosecutor side is that Davis confessed the crime. Okay, we're talking about, put Mr. Dwayne Davis back up there for me, Brittany. Mr. Davis, registered sex offender, he confessed the murder of Jaleesa Reynolds to his witch doctor. Right? So,
wow.
Yeah, so the witch doctor then told the authorities, or the authorities found out somewhere or another. Anyway, they got the information. They got the confession.
Right.
But then there's some sort of, I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what it was, but there's some sort of problem with that confession. I don't know if it's whether it's treated, you know, there's confidentiality when you talk to a priest. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if they don't trust the witch doctor. I mean, it is a witch doctor.
It is a witch doctor.
So, I mean, and, you know, so there's some sort of problem with that confession, but, I mean, law enforcement liked it enough to try to get it prosecuted, right? So, I mean, to me, like so many of these cases, it falls into the trap of it's not really a whodunit.
Right.
They know who did it. It's the problem of getting it to trial.
Yes.
So and it was, he confessed to a witch doctor. If I said witch doctor enough, I have to maintain a gallows humor about these cases. I've been doing it 20 years. I've raised all my children in this. You know, I mean, it's if you let things get to you, you can really. I've known a lot of reporters who have fallen apart. A lot of good reporters who I've known a couple that have actually ended their own lives because they let these things get to them. So I try to maintain some humor in it all, and I have a few favorite words that I use. I said on Facebook the other day, shallow grave is one of them. Pistol whipped. I really like writing pistol whipped, right? Just different words. I have a new one now, which is witch doctor, because I never thought. Folks, I've been doing this almost 20 years. 20 years I've been doing this, and I have never written the word. I've written the word witch before, and I've written the word doctor before, but I have never written witch doctor in my entire career. So now I have that accomplishment. And well, actually, I haven't written it yet. I just talked about it. So now I got to write a story about this so I can get witch doctor in there. All right. So I think this is the last one. No, we got two more, so I better speed it up. All right. We're going to talk about Travis Harrison. Now I
don't remember him.
We haven't exactly spoke about Travis as much as he's been on the peripheral of the Seven Bridges Road case.
Okay.
Travis he was 24 years old. He was found dead in 2006. Travis was the cross-dresser who people always kept saying that was involved in that, and then people will know he wasn't, and then they'd say he was, and then they'd say he wasn't, and then they'd say he was. So Travis was a cross-dresser. His remains were found about a mile from where someone found the remains of Elizabeth Smallwood. Now remember, we showed Smallwood was found right behind Rocky Mountain Mills, down in that area, right?
Right.
All right, so I've always wondered whether or not Travis was one of Anton's victims or not. You know, I felt like he was, and I felt like he wasn't, and I wasn't sure. Well, after we talked about Mr. Pittman a little bit on the show, I got another phone call.
Oh.
And I talked to a man that he said that he met Antoine Pittman in 2006 at the Braswell Memorial Library, right? And they began to have a sexual relationship. So that was always the question of, traditionally, serial killers go after the opposite sex. There are rare occasions, but traditionally, serial killers go after they go after the same race and the opposite sex.
Really?
Yeah. Now that, there are exceptions. So someone sitting at home goes, well, I know so-and-so. There are exceptions.
Oh,
but
sure, yeah.
when the FBI begins to develop a profile, two almost constants is same race, opposite sex, right? So I always wondered about Mr. Pittman in this situation, right? So anyway, and that's not always true, because I know John Wayne Gacy killed a whole bunch of little boys, but like I said, there's exceptions, right?
Right.
So this gentleman, I spoke to this gentleman for about 3 hours. I mean, it was a long conversation, and he provided information that no one else would know unless they know, right? So he said that he met Mr. Pittman at Braswell Memorial Library. They began a sexual relationship, but he said that Pittman was very aggressive and violent all the time, and he said that at one point Pittman took him to the woods, which ended up being the same spot where Elizabeth Smallwood's body was found, right down there behind where the soccer fields are or whatever. He took him into those woods, and he made him take his clothes off. Right now, it's funny that I was reading a book about this. Right at the same time I had this conversation with this guy, I was reading a book, and taking someone to an isolated area and making them take their clothes off is a trick that predators use a lot. Whether it's with a little child, or whether it's a guy takes a girl out to Lookout Point or whatever, and he somehow gets her out of her shirt. Now what's she gonna do? She ain't got her shirt, So it's just a common thing that people use all the time. So The man said that he got him out of his clothes, and then he started choking him, right? So he said he just ran home. He ran away in his underwear, right? So he ran all the way, but just got out of there. And he says, and I quote, I wrote this down, "I think that saved my life." Right?
Probably did.
So what is all this? Why am I even saying all this? I'm saying all this because Travis was found, all he had on was his socks. Right? So, if, and I'm saying if because I don't know, although Mr. Pittman's a convicted murderer, so who cares what he thinks, but if he killed Travis, it makes sense to this man's story because Travis was found. Well, the prevailing, no, I'm not ready yet. The prevailing thought on this was that Travis died because whoever killed him thought he was a woman, and then when they took his clothes off and realized it was a man, they killed him, like for that reason, right?
Really?
That's what people think. That's what I mean. I think even that some of the authorities think that. Some of the detectives I've talked to has thought that. And that's what I've had in my mind all this time.
That's interesting.
But in this theory, and it's just a theory, it's an investigative theory, what if Pittman had him take his clothes off to put him in a corner, just like he did with this gentleman, right? So it makes you think. And Pittman has some of his infractions since he's been in prison is sex act. You know, so there's you're in a men's prison. There's only so many ways you can go with that. And I mean, I know there's like prison gay. There's when you're going to be in prison the rest of your life at some point, whatever. But I'm just saying that all this evidence points to, and I don't care about anybody's persuasion. What I'm trying to say is that, in my mind, this is the first time that I can see that Travis Harris may have been a victim. All right, moving on really quickly, and because this is good news, so I mean I can share this pretty quickly. We talked about one of the first cases we talked about on the show was Daquan Dickens. Remember, Tarek Pittman was on here because he was friends with that family and all that, and he was talking about that. He was 18 years old. He was killed. He was at his niece's birthday party, and he had just got off work from Burger King. He just graduated. He just graduated a few years before that. This was 2019. He comes home. I mean, he comes to the birthday party. He still got on his Burger King outfit. Somebody comes up and they shoot into the house. There's 18 people in there. Bullet goes right through his Burger King name badge, right through his heart, kills him.
I remember that.
Well, his family has, here's the new information. His family has set up a scholarship in his name that's going to be awarded through the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office. I'm sorry, the Edgecombe County Community College.
Okay.
So, students that are pursuing degrees in education and criminal justice can apply for the Daquan Dickens scholarship, right?
Okay.
The manager at Burger King he gave money to start the whole thing, and Mayor Robinson,
nice.
Mayor Robinson pledged half of his salary for this year to go toward the scholarship. Now I'm assuming he's talking about his
mayor's salary,
not his. Although who knows? I mean, he donated.
He's a generous guy.
He donated a pretty big amount to Team Cold Case. So
he did.
So I mean, I just think it's great. I mean, it's tragic, of course, but the family said that they did this scholarship to keep his name out there. I mean, that crime. I mean, it's still unsolved. They don't know who did that. So they're trying to keep his name out there and keep his memory alive. So that's that. So we can go to the break now. I'm sorry I held you hostage, but I wanted to get rid of that.
No, that's fine. So are we going to do some more at another time?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're going to continue these?
Yes, absolutely. These are the ones that I had updates for.
Okay.
And so I wanted to do that. Now we're going to do a recap show in a couple weeks or whatever we do. But we also are going to get back to our roots, and we're going to start. We're going to take a couple cases, and we're just going to.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Strip them apart.
Yes,
we're going to look at. We're going to take several weeks
And we
look at all
have, and we
aspects.
want to look at a case in Whitaker's too.
Yes.
A new case that actually a viewer told us about.
Right.
We're loving the viewers getting involved here.
Yes, yes,
It's great.
we will-
Okay, we got to go to break. We'll
right.
come back with unidentified
That's right.
after
Yep, yep.
this.
Thank you.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.